One of the most reputable Nintendo leakers has given us some idea of what he expects to see in 2026, as well as when the next Direct is going to be. So Nate the Hate, who's correctly predicted a lot of Nintendo Directs before, he's gotten a lot right before, recently made a video and he went over some of his predictions for 2026, and there were some notes about the first Direct, which I'm going to get to. But starting with the big one that everyone is hoping for, at least probably all of you are hoping for, is there's going to be a 3D Mario as the big holiday release. So this is something we've been saying for years, that we're finally going to get a 3D Mario. It's been so many years now, but Nate the Hate seems to think that we're getting it this year, and it does make sense. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to see it in this Direct, but right now we don't know anything about Nintendo's big holiday releases. They kind of missed out on that last year outside of Pokemon. Like, typically there's a new Pokemon game every November or so, but besides that, there was Metroid Prime 4, but that missed the mark for a lot of people, and Metroid isn't one of Nintendo's biggest series, so it makes sense that we're going to get some major game at the end of the year, and there's a very good chance it's going to be 3D Mario, just because of how long it's been and how we're finally on the next generation now. There could be ideas that they wanted in the next 3D Mario that simply wouldn't have worked on Switch, so that could be a reason why. They could have been working on Donkey Kong Bonanza, so we don't know, but definitely a big prediction there. Next up is a Pokemon Gen 10 as the other big holiday release. This one is pretty much guaranteed. There's been so many rumors about this, and it makes complete sense. And it's also rumored to be the visual leap for Pokemon that we've been expecting. Pokemon games on Switch, just personally for me, I thought they looked pretty bad. Like, I just did not like the art style at all. I don't think it looked like a good Switch game, or at least a good Switch game graphically, I should say. But apparently we're finally going to get the graphical leap that a lot of people have wanted, especially after Pokemon Legends EA, which, I mean, that just... I don't even need to go over how bad that looked for a Switch 2 game. The Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition is next. I couldn't tell you much about the Xenoblade games. It seems like this would probably just be like a Switch 2 version with all the DLC included, so there's not too much to go over there. Switch 2 editions, such as Switch Sports and Pikmin 4. If they make a Switch 2 edition of Switch Sports and charge like $70 for it, I'm making an entire video of that on that, because that would be absolutely insane. Nintendo Switch Sports, when it first came out, I thought was overpriced. I just don't think it was close to being worth what you're paying for it. I don't think it's a bad game, but it's just not that special, if that makes sense. Like, it's solid for 20 to 30 bucks. But if they just make like a Switch 2 edition that adds like one sport and then charge $70 for it, I think I'll actually be left speechless. Pikmin 4, I mean, pretty vocally against Switch 2 editions being more expensive than the original releases. I guess I can understand them wanting to get more Pikmin attention, since probably not going to have a game for at least a few years. Seems like they're just using the Switch 2 editions to make some extra money and hold over fans of series, but I've already talked about that so much in other videos. Significant Mario Kart World DLC. Another thing I think is very likely. Mario Kart World disappointed a lot of people, and it seems like a lot of people have just given up on the game. Like, I have barely played it since I first got it. It just was not able to keep my attention. The open world's a cool idea, but it's just completely barren. There's almost nothing to do except the P-switches, which, I mean, that barely does anything. I'd like to see a more interactive open world, maybe have online racers there, do challenges, have more collectibles to find, have missions, stuff like that. Knowing Nintendo, we're probably going to get just like a $40 DLC pack or something, like added on to the $80 price. If it's a free DLC, that would be great, but I don't know if Nintendo's going to do that, but there's no way, there's a 0% chance they're not planning something for it, whether it's a paid DLC or a free update. We're definitely getting something this year for it. The Zelda remaster or remake, so I made an entire video on this if you want to check that out. I think this is something that a lot of us have been thinking about, just because it has been 5 or 6 years now since Skyward Sword HD was the last Zelda remaster, and this is Zelda's 40th anniversary, so it makes sense that they're going to want to celebrate that by bringing back a classic game. The only games I think they would make a remake of would be Ocarina of Time or the Oracle games, because none of the 3D games from GameCube, from Wind Waker onward, need a remake. The Majora's Mask, I don't know why they would remake that in Ocarina of Time. And for the 2D games, obviously we got Link's Awakening. The first 2 games, I just don't think they'd make a remake of those. A Link to the Past, another game that doesn't need a remake. I think the Oracle games need a remake the most, but Ocarina of Time, I'd definitely be there for it if they made a full 4K from the ground up remake. For remasters, I mean, it would be cool to get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, but those aren't new games, that would just be ports. So those are first party predictions, but what about third party? So Nate the Hate also predicts Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That game, I have seen like 5 minutes of gameplay of it. It won Game of the Year, but I don't know about all of you, but I just have never really seen much about it. I don't know what it's about. I mean, maybe I'd give it a chance if it was on Switch 2, just because I know know it's a long RPG. Metaphor ReFantazio, I don't know what that is, if I'm being honest. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So we just got Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, and it sold out immediately everywhere. I myself have actually never played a Final Fantasy game, but now having this on the Switch 2 where I can play it on the go, I might actually give it a try, just because it's hard for me to commit to playing a full, like a big RPG on my PS5 or PC, just because I have limited time now. So when I'm playing a game like that, and I need to sit down to play, it just takes so long to actually finish the game, and sometimes I just lose motivation. But when I'm playing on Switch 2 and I could actually bring it on the go, definitely makes it more likely I'm actually going to beat the game. Yakuza, Like a Dragon games, never been into the Yakuza series. Heard good things about it. Let me know in the comments if you think it's worth it, what game I should start with if I want to play it. Red Dead 2, so I love Red Dead 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Would I get it on Switch 2? No, I just don't see a reason to get it again. But I think it would be good for people who either just don't have other consoles, or maybe you're like me where they just don't want to sit down and play a long game and want something that they can play on the go. And I definitely think this is likely. Like, there was a lot of hype with the original Red Dead, like the remaster of that getting the Switch 2 edition. It seems like Rockstar has been doing more with Nintendo consoles recently. Definitely a good possibility there, and if you have not played Red Dead 2 for whatever reason, you gotta pick it up if it's on Switch 2. Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 remake, another thing that seems very likely to me. We already got 7 and 8 on Switch, and Switch 2 I should say, and now we're getting Requiem. So porting 2, 3, and 4 makes sense. Like, I know I've said a lot of this makes sense, but it really does. You know, these games aren't overly long, especially Resident Evil 3 Remake. It's like 3 hours. People call it Resident Evil 3 hours. But again, these are games that if maybe for whatever reason someone doesn't have a PS5 or Xbox or gaming PC and they just play on Nintendo, these are really great games. The Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of my favorite games ever. Resident Evil 3 Remake I liked. The Resident Evil 4 Remake, I'm actually playing that now. Like, I'm playing that as we speak, meaning like it's one of my current games. And I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. I played the original Resident Evil 4, and that's one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm a big fan of the series, and I'd love to see more Nintendo fans get a chance to play it. We've gotten some Doom games on Switch, so again, I can see this happening. Final Fantasy 16 under consideration. I don't know anything about Final Fantasy 16, but especially with how popular Final Fantasy seems to be on Nintendo Switch 2, I think that there's going to be a lot more Final Fantasy that we see with Nintendo. So those are some of the predictions he has, and then he also has a prediction for the Direct, and he says it's going to be the first week of February and expects it to be February 5th. However, he didn't confirm that with his best sources, but that pretty much lines up. He also doesn't know if the format's going to be a general direct or partner direct. If Nintendo announces a partner direct, there's going to be outrage among the Nintendo community. The last general direct we got was September now, so it's been a while, and people want to see what's on the docket for 2026. And just yesterday, I believe, we got the Tomodachi Life direct announcement, and as a huge Tomodachi Life fan, really looking forward to that. I don't think that'll interfere with a regular Nintendo Direct. They might just be doing that because they don't want to take too much time in the regular Direct. I want to go over it before that, so I really wouldn't expect that to have any interference on this. So if you want to check it out, Nate the Hate made a video that's like over an hour. I didn't watch the whole thing, just went over some of the predictions he has, and a lot of them make sense. Like, I can see pretty much all these happening. The big one we're all hoping for is 3D Mario, so I don't know if we're going to get that in this Direct or the next one. If we go another year without 3D Mario, it's going to be going on a decade, so that'd be a crazy amount of time for one of Nintendo's most popular series to be dormant. But anyway, if he's right, we're only a little more than a week away from the next Nintendo Direct. We'd probably know about it within 4 or 5 days if that's the case. So let me know what you expect. Do you think Nate the Hate's predictions are right? Do you think some of them are going to be wrong? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe.